Chag Chanukah Sameach, wishing you a joyous holiday of Chanukah. What, though, is Chanukah? First of all, it is important to note that it is only a minor holiday. It may be one of the most known of Jewish holidays, but not because of the major religious significance, rather actually just because it falls on the calendar around Christmas time. And that has made it more known and more popular as it has come to compete of sorts with Christmas. The word Chanukah literally means dedication, and that is the essence of this holiday. The rededication of the holy light and our needing to rededicate ourselves to Judaism, to Torah, to God. About 2020 plus 164 years ago, the Assyrian Greeks, the Seleucids, and their king Antiochus ruled over Judea. And at the time, they were fine with leaving the Jews alone, letting the Jews be Jews, as long as they paid their taxes. At that time, some Jews were more focused on getting along and fitting in with their non-Jewish neighbors, doing business with them and being profitable, and quite simply fitting in with the Greek society. There were, though, also Jews who tried to keep focus on Judaism, on Torah, and on God. They wanted to preserve Judaism and practice our ancient heritage. Quite understandably and expectedly, these two groups of Jews did not get along well. There was indeed conflict. King Antiochus saw this conflict, and clearly he took the side of the non-religious, as he saw to it as being to his long-term benefit. He took it to the level of prohibiting all Jewish practice. He banned studying Torah. He outlawed mitzvot. He took control of the temple. He installed Greek idols. He destroyed Jewish artifacts, smashed vials of our pure olive oil. He defiled the temple. He even sacrificed pigs there. Judah and his brothers, though, led a revolt against the Assyrian Greeks. The struggle was not just one battle. It went on for a few years. Eventually, they drove the troops out of Judea. This is historically known as the first such fight for religious liberty, and the Maccabees won back our religious freedom. That is a part of what Chanukah is about. At its core, religious freedom. And we must never take our freedom for granted. Also, the story goes in about 164 BCE that once the Maccabees prevailed against the Assyrian Greeks, one priority was then to rededicate the temple. As I shared, that is what the word Chanukah means, dedication. And it was important to relight the menorah, which was always to be kept lit. It used special pure olive oil. But they struggled to find any olive oil to relight the menorah. The Assyrian Greeks had smashed the stocks of jars. Story goes, though, of a little boy named Nachshon. Little Nachshon was the epitome of faith, similar to the story of the Nachshon of the Red Sea, if you're familiar with that. Nachshon noticed a container with a small amount of the pure olive oil. It was though only enough oil to burn for one day. And it would take 8 days to press and process olives into new oil. While some were concerned that it wouldn't be enough, what a lesson we have here. That in life, we may find that we have just what we need. The oil that appeared to be only enough for one day actually lasted for the 8 days that we needed. And that is what most seem to think of when thinking of Chanukah. The oil enough for one day actually lasted for 8 days. Chanukah is thus today seen as a holiday of two miracles. The miracle of the oil and the miracle of our victory against all odds against the Seleucids. We do need to see and give thanks for the miracles in our lives. The first account of the story of Chanukah, by the way, is in the first book of Maccabees. It tells of the amazing military victory. However, it does not mention the story of the oil. The story of the oil actually comes much later in time. The Talmud later tells us that Chanukah celebrates the miracle of the oil that lasted for 8 days. Whether it happened as such or not, we may not be sure. It could have been in addition to the story to enhance the holiday. One theory is that for the sake of our non-Jewish neighbors not seeing us as a militaristic people, not wanting them to worry about us causing political uprising, as we wanted to not raise concerns but wanted to get along, The rabbis back then did not deny the military victory, but they removed it from being the central focus of our celebration. They rebranded the holiday. Instead of glorifying the Hasmonean military prowess, the holiday would glorify miraculous divine light. Miraculous divine light upon which we Jews can depend even in the darkest of times. Chanukah became more known as the holiday of light and not as much as the holiday of military victory. Chanukah can and should, though, be seen as a holiday of light, but it should also be seen as a holiday of faith, of never stopping to believe in what is right. It should be seen as a holiday of religious freedom, of standing up for what is right. It should be seen as a holiday of miracles, of seeing and appreciating the miracles in our lives. It should be seen as the holiday is named, Chanukah meaning dedication. It should be seen as a holiday of dedication, of dedicating ourselves and rededicating ourselves to being more good, to doing more good, to bringing more good into this world, to being or Lagoyim, to being a light unto the nations, and to bringing more light into this world. Much to think about as we light our Chanukah. L'chag Chanukah Sameach, v'l'chag Urim Sameach. Now, let's bring the light.